My fellow foragers know there are few things more frustrating than waiting patiently for your elderberry patch to ripen, only to, with perfect timing, come back and find that your newly ripened berries have already been picked over by the birds having a party, and you're left with just kind of the dregs of what is left over. I have been watching this elderberry bush all season long, and just when they were about to be ripe, I come back to this. But just because a foraging harvest is small does not mean that it can't also be mighty. I took what few berries were left, I dried them, and then I used them to make a tea. Elderberries are high in vitamin A, vitamin C, potassium, iron, and they've got 10 times more antioxidants than any other berry out there. Humans have a long and ancient history of using these berries for food and medicine. These days, the most popular preparation for elderberries is to make an elderberry syrup. Typically, you take a bunch of berries, cook them down with sugar to make the syrup that can then be used as a cold and cough syrup during the winter to help boost immunity and fight against the common cold and flu. Like most traditional herbal folk medicine, elderberries are understudied, but there is some evidence to back up people's claims that they do help boost immunity and ward off colds. A word of caution, do not eat raw elderberries. I do taste test a couple on the trail to make sure they're good, but raw elderberries do contain cyanogenic glycosides, which can cause nausea and vomiting. Cooking neutralizes these toxins. For the simple tea preparation, all I did was air dry my elderberries for about a week. I put them on a paper towel underneath which was a plate of salt, and I covered them with a breathable cloth. Now, if you want to get something dehydrated faster, the faster way to do it is, of course, in a dehydrator or in your oven with the door propped open and the oven set on warm or low. These methods are faster and reduce risk of mold, but they use more energy. Then all I did was boil the dried berries for about 10 minutes to make the tea. And I feel like this was a much better use of such a small harvest rather than getting all sticky with a bunch of sugar trying to make what would essentially be a teaspoon of syrup. I was able to make a nice little pot of tea for my spouse and I. The tea had a beautiful fruity aroma. The flavor was much milder than the smell, I felt like, but it was still quite delicious. Drying is a really simple preservation method, and once your herb or your fruit is dried, you can either make tea with it, you can grind it up and add it to salt as a seasoning salt, like mushroom salt, one of my favorites. You can grind it up and add it to sugar, like sweet clover sugar. Delicious. Small harvests happen frequently with foraging. Sometimes you find a single edible mushroom, one lonely little crab apple on the tree, a handful of wild chamomile, whatever it is, it's still worth foraging. All of those tiny harvests can add up to a well-stocked spice cabinet, a well-stocked home apothecary, a well-stocked tea selection, so it is well worth the effort just to take those little harvests and enjoy them. If you want to make the most out of the wild plants in your area, I wrote a book for you. It is called Eco-Punk Foraging: How to Use Wild Plants for Food, Medicine, and Crafts by Melanie Weird. That's me. It's available on Amazon.